Welcome to our YouTube channel. My name is Zintle. Today we'll be talking about what do you see, what are you seeing. So type that in the chat. Type what do you see. We're talking about what are we seeing with our eyes, what are we seeing, what are we seeing before us, what are we seeing in these times. So type it in the chat. What do you see? Tell it to your neighbor. What do you see? That's what we're going to talk about. What are we seeing and what do we see? So astronomers, when they are looking at when astronomers are looking at a far distant object, they use what we call a telescope, and we all know what a telescope is. We've seen pictures of different telescopes, different sizes of telescopes. But the way a telescope operates is that the way you are able to see the object is that you look through a lens or you look through a clear mirror. So the object that is far and distant is able to be seen clearly through the lens through which you look through the telescope. So a telescope that uses a lens to see an object is called a refracting telescope. How this operates is that the light, they've created a light that shines into the lens, or it shines into the mirror. So the object that you are seeing is through the light. In the absence of the light, you are unable to see the object. So you are able to see a far distant object as you look through the telescope. But what you are seeing actually is the light that shines. In the absence of the light, the object becomes completely invisible. So there are specific things in our lives that we are unable to see simply because we are still in the dark. Unless you move into the light or into his marvelous light, you are able to see things that no one else can see because you are in the light. There are things that you will never see because you are in darkness. But unless you step into the light, and this is what the Bible says, it says you are the light of the world. You and I become that very light that emulates Christ. So there are specific things that we'll never see unless we step into the light. So a telescope is able to capture a far distant object and bring it into your present reality. It is as if the object that you are looking at is right in front of your eyes. That's the beauty of what these astronomers have been able to create with this powerful instrument. They're able to look into the galaxies, and they're able to look into the far distant reaches of the world. They look into creation. They're able to grab an object and bring it into present realities. And so that's how a telescope operates, and that's what astronomers have discovered as an instrument to look into far distant things. God says in Isaiah, he says in Isaiah 46, he says, God in the beginning declares the end. 46 verse 10, it says, God in the beginning declares the end. Meaning that God has the ability to travel before time and ahead of time and accomplish and bring into existence anything that you have beheld with your eyes in your present reality. It means that God is able to step into the future before you even walk into your future and grab whatever you've seen or envisioned or dreamt about and bring it into your existence. So turn to your neighbor and tell them, what do you see? Or type it in the chat, what do you see? Because the ability to see something has within it the ability to become that which you are seeing. So in 1 Kings chapter 18 verse 43, it's a conversation between Elijah and the servant. And Elijah says to the servant, he says, go up and look towards the sea. What do you see? Look towards the sea. And he went up and looked. And the servant turns to Elijah and says, I see nothing. He says, go up again. Verse 44. He says, go up again. And on the seventh time when he looks, the servant says, behold, a little cloud like the shape of a man's hand is being formed. And then Elijah says to the servant, run to Ahab and tell him to prepare the chariots because rain is coming. I believe that our ability to see through the eyes of Jesus is the ability for us to live outside of fear and live in faith. It's only because we see things through the eyes of the world that we live in fear. But when we step into the eyes of Jesus, we are able to see everything falling apart in the world, everything falling apart in our own worlds, feeling like everything is just crashing in and feeling depressed and feeling heavy burden. But when we begin to see everything through the eyes of Jesus, We see through the eyes of faith and not through the eyes of fear. When you look through the lenses of the world, you will always see fear. When you look through the lenses of Jesus, you will always see faith. So faith is hidden behind the eyes of Jesus. It's like the telescope that is able to bring future reality into a present reality. When you look through the eyes of Jesus, there are specific things and specific realities that you are going to step into because you are looking through the eyes of faith. So I want to encourage you, as young as you are, that begin to look at things as how Jesus sees things. How does Jesus perceive and how does Jesus look at things is what will determine how you are seeing things. What you are beholding, you are becoming. Yeah, so what do you see is important. So it's imperative that we pay full attention to what we look at, what we hear, and what we speak. So that's my encouragement to you. I love you. Stay tuned. Subscribe to our channel, press the like button, and stay tuned for more.